Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. Jaded Blossom's brand new September 2024 release is now available. Here's a quick look at the new release from Jaded Blossom. Lots of fun products. The first item is a new stencil set called Grunge Background. This is currently not available for individual purchase. It's the freebie you'll receive if you purchase at least $50 worth of products, and one item must be from the new release. This is for a limited time or while supplies last. Jaded Blossom is known for their fun Gnome Dies, but this month the gnomes have some new friends. First friend is a bear. What's really fun about the gnome friends, they're about the same size as the gnomes, so they can wear many of the gnomes' hats, accessories, and they can also hold objects just like the gnomes can. And the new bear set has the gnome sitting or standing. Jaded Blossom never leaves out any details, so you can create little faces, but if you want more variety, they do have a new stamp set with 8 different bear faces. Look at how cute these are. I'll grab the bear die again so you can see the sweet faces on the bear image. And one of the die pieces is just the head of the bear, so if you don't want that little stitched muzzle, you can use the stamp instead. I'll grab that here in a moment so I can show you. I know some people are not a fan of the gnomes, so I love that Jaded Blossom now has some gnome friends. The bear is super cute. Earlier in the year they released a bunny, and who knows what critters will come next. They have a new sentiment stamp set called Bear Hugs, and there are also outline dies. This is such a fun set since it's not holiday or seasonal specific. You can use the bears year-round. Although they did include a couple of holiday sentiments. Wishing you a very scary Halloween, and wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'll flip them over so you can see the actual size of the stamps and dies. Jaded Blossom always has fun sentiment sets. And if you weren't aware, all of Jaded Blossom's stamps, dies, and stencil sets are made here in the US. There's also a new Ghost Gnome Friend, and the set includes 3 different ghosts. One faces to the right, the other to the left, and the last ghost has a fun little scallop design at the bottom. There are 3 different bow styles and also the pieces for the face, but Jaded Blossom has also released their Ghost Faces stamp set. We have 8 different faces that you can add on the ghost. And it's so fun that they've even included a little angry face. There's also a new sentiment set called Ghostly Greetings. There's stamps and coordinating outline dies. Really fun variety of sentiments. Most of them are for Halloween, but there are several that you could use year-round. Even though ghosts are generally just for Halloween cards, it's fun that you can use them year-round. There are several birthday sentiments on the stamp set. The next die set is Rickety Fence. This is a really fun design. So it has the main background piece and then another piece with all of the individual boards, and I love that they're all welded onto one die. So this is one die set. You don't have to do any snipping, and I love that. The final set in the new release is another die set. It's called Street Lamp Die. So it includes the main street lamp, and you can put the light on top, or it has the option to add a jack-o'-lantern and a spider web underneath. Pull out the set so you can get an idea of what's included. I love having the option of the jack-o'-lantern, or you could just do the pumpkin on top. So that's everything that's included in Jaded Blossom's September 2024 release. And if you're interested in any of the products, I do have links in the description box below. And as always, you will save by purchasing the full release bundle. I do have a few cards to share using the new release. The pattern paper I'll be using is from Photo Play. It's their Lil Boo Thing Collection. I couldn't resist purchasing it. Look at all the fun pink. And it also has cute designs versus scary Halloween. I also purchased the coordinating cardstock pack. There are 2 different pink colors, a lovely orange, and those 3 all have a pearlescent finish on one side. There are also 2 sheets of black that are pre-embossed with little polka dots. Here's a look at the Lil Boo Thing Collection. It's only available in 12 by 12. I purchased the full collection kit. There are 12 double-sided pattern papers, and the collection kit also includes a 12 by 12 sheet of stickers. Lots of fun images and sentiments. For my cards today, I'm not using any of the stickers. I'll set that aside, and maybe later I'll do a 6 by 6 style video with 6 sheets of the 12 by 12 paper, and I'll bring in those stickers for images and sentiments. I'll go through the pattern paper so you can get an idea of what's included. Lots of adorable designs. There's some tone-on-tone patterns, lovely stripes. Here's some polka dots with a soft orange with pink polka dots. Pink background with white ghosts. And on the back side, we have a black sky with pink stars. There's a lovely plaid floral design on the other side, and those would work for cards year-round. And the final 2 designs, we have some diagonal stripes and a pink background with white skulls. Really cute collection, and if you are interested, I do have it linked in the description box. So let's go ahead and get started with card number 1. For the background of my card, using the black pattern paper with pink stars, I'll layer it on some light pink cardstock. Some of the cardstock I'm using in the video is from that coordinating cardstock pack. Other cardstock is from my stash. This card will feature the new Rickety Fence. I cut it out from some petite print paper from Doodlebug Design. Not sure which collection it's from. I know it's an older one, so it's no longer available. Trying to use up some of my older paper and other crafty items in my room. I used the same pattern paper for that background piece and also the individual boards. Since you'll still see the 2 cross boards, I wanted to use the same pattern paper. So one by one, I'll put glue on the back of the individual boards and adhere them on the card. And this is another set that's perfect for cards year-round. Jaded Blossom released another fence die set, I think a year or 2 ago, so it's fun to have a variety. Just a few more boards left to adhere. Trying to make sure I'm grabbing the correct one and lining it up. Final 2 pieces are the broken board, so someone needs to come out and fix this poor fence. The glue I'm using is from Barely Art, and I'm holding all those die cut pieces with a pair of reverse tweezers. Now that I have my fence all adhered, I'll put glue on the back, making sure to get good coverage. Then I'll adhere the fence on the front of the card, putting it at the bottom. So I'm creating a fun little nighttime scene. I did place a large acrylic block on top for some added weight while the glue dried. Now I'll pull out the rest of the die cut pieces. I've already gone ahead and cut them all out. I have them organized in one of Scrapbook.com's stack and sort trays. This is the smaller size. Whenever I record a video, I always have a stack of the trays off to the side. That way I can keep all the die cut pieces and sentiments separate and I don't lose them, since sometimes there are teeny tiny pieces. I'll be adding 3 pumpkins and 2 pink ghosts. And the pumpkins are from Jaded Blossom's Wheelbarrow Fall Add-on Set. For the 2 smaller pumpkins, I use solid orange cardstock. For the larger pumpkin, I use some of the pattern paper, the soft orange with pink polka dots. For the background piece of the pumpkins, I use the same orange cardstock color, but you can use any cardstock scraps you have since it'll all be covered up. Both of the ghosts will be wearing a bow. I have one of the bow ties and the other is the little bow that goes on top of the ghost head. Although I'm also adding the bow tie on the top of one of the ghost head. And I use pattern paper for both of the bows. I decided to use the new Ghost Face stamp set. I love the fun variety of faces. I have both of the ghost die cut pieces set up in a mini MISTI, holding them in place with a magnet. I'll select two of the faces, line them up on the ghost piece. Then I'll ink them up using Honeybee Stamp's Intense Black ink. And I will ink them a few times to get a nice solid impression. Look at those adorable faces. Nothing scary about these pink ghosts. I'll put one ghost on the left side, the other will go on the right side. First, I'll add the bows on the top of their heads. The bows are just adorable, and I think they look really cute with the plaid pattern paper. And I did use this same pattern paper for each of the bows. I just focused on a different area. The larger bow has several shades of pink, and the smaller bow is pink and black. I'll add all three of the pumpkins at the bottom in front of the fence. Trying to decide how I want them placed. I'll put the two larger pumpkins in the center, one slightly more on the right side. The smallest pumpkin will go in the lower left-hand corner. I've already stamped and cut out the sentiment, Happy Booth Day. I used the same light pink cardstock that I used for that background layer. Put glue on the back and add the sentiment in the upper left-hand corner. I will pop up both of the ghosts using foam dimension. I have some small black foam squares. First, add the ghost on the right side. Now I'll add the largest pumpkin in the center of the card, and I'm gluing it down directly. The medium-sized pumpkin will go on the right side of that larger pumpkin, and I will add a little bit of foam dimension behind that pumpkin, just on the right side. On the area that sits on top of that larger pumpkin, I'll add a small scrap piece of cardstock. Then I'll put glue on the back and adhere the next pumpkin down. The smallest pumpkin I'll also pop up with more foam dimension. Now I'll put foam dimension on the last pink ghost, remove the release paper, and add the ghost on the left side of the card, underneath the sentiment and above the smallest pumpkin. Since I used pink cardstock for the ghost and then stamped their faces, the very center, that little highlight of their eyes, is pink, and I want it to stand out a little bit more, so I'm using a white gel pen and filling in that center area of the eyes. I'll also use the white gel pen and add a few highlights on the pumpkins. I have a scrap piece of cardstock on the side, just scribbling the pen to get it flowing better. I know I really should toss this pen. It's been giving me so much trouble, but there's still a bunch of ink left in it, and I'm determined to finish it off. Now moving on to card number 2, I selected 2 pattern papers. For the background, it's a light pink. It has witches' hats, bats, and black moons. On the left side of the card, I'm adding a 2-inch strip of the light peach and pink polka dot paper. For a little bit of separation and shine, I'll add a Love from Lizzie peel off along the edge of the polka dot paper. This is the pink holographic color in the pinstripe style, and I used the widest width. On the right side, I was able to use some of the scrap pieces since I'll be adding the image there, and I'll cover up that gap area. I'll wrap the ends around the back, layer this piece on some black cardstock, put more adhesive on the back, and add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. For the image panel, I used Jaded Blossom's Stitched Oval and also their Scallop Oval die sets. Cut out the Stitched Oval from some orange cardstock from my stash, and for the Scallop Oval, I used some vellum. I'll adhere the 2 ovals together, put glue on the back, making sure only to put it behind the orange oval. Then I'll adhere the oval on the card, more on the right side. Now I'll start assembling the ghost. I've already stamped the little face, and this ghost will be dressed up as a witch. The witch's hat and broomstick are from Jaded Blossom's Halloween costume set number 2. So I have the witch's hat, cut that out from black cardstock, adding the little band using the darker pink pearlescent paper. I also cut out a light pink bow tie, and I'll glue it on the right side of the pink band on the witch's hat. I'll add some glue on the back side of the hat, attach it on top of the ghost, and while I'm waiting for the glue to dry, I'll put a piece of double-sided adhesive tape on the back side. This little ghost witch needs a broom. I cut out the background piece from dark brown cardstock, and I decided to use a pink cardstock for the straw pieces of the broom. I used the non-pearlescent side for the main part of the broom, and for the little tie, I did use the pearlescent side. Now I'll put glue on the bottom of the ghost and attach it on the broom, trying to make it look like the ghost is riding the broomstick. I'll put a piece of double-sided adhesive tape on the back for extra security while the glue dries. For a sentiment, I'm adding ghostly greetings, and I did heat emboss this with some white embossing powder. I will pop up the sentiment using foam dimension, using black foam strips from Honeybee Stamps. I'll remove the release paper and add the sentiment in the lower left-hand corner. Just part of the sentiment is sitting on the bottom of the oval die cuts. Now I'll put foam dimension on the back of the witch, ghost, and broomstick. I made sure to remove the release paper from the double-sided adhesive tape first. This time I'm using some small foam squares from scrapbook.com. It's their 1mm thickness, so it doesn't add a lot of extra dimension. I'll make sure to get good coverage, and in some of those narrow areas I am adding some half pieces of the foam squares. Then I'll remove the release paper and add my little witch ghost image in the center of the oval. Part of the witch's hat will go above the oval, and I have the very bottom of the broom going on top of the S in the word greetings. Using a white gel pen, I'll add a few highlights on the witch's hat and also the broomstick. I'll grab that scrap piece of cardstock again, get the pen flowing first. Then I'll add all the little highlights on the broomstick, bow, and witch's hat. I thought about it later, but I think it would be cute to add some little pink circles on the ghost for cheeks. For embellishments, I'm cutting out my own using Jaded Blossom's Embellishment Clusters die set. If you don't have this die set, I highly recommend it. It's perfect for cutting out your own embellishments, especially if you don't want a lot of dimension, or if you're just looking for that perfect color to match your project. For this card, I'm using the stars, and there are 3 different sizes of each of the embellishments. I already have a bunch of the basic colors cut out, and I have them stored in a pink organizer. I purchased this from my local Hobby Lobby, but you can find all kinds of organizing bins online or at local stores. I selected the silver holographic stars. I'll put 3 of them in the upper right-hand corner and 2 above the sentiment in the lower left-hand corner. I was going to put 1 large star and 2 medium stars on the right side, but decided to pull out one of the smaller stars. And you could pop up the small embellishments with foam dimension. I'm gluing them down directly. I'll add a small drop of glue for this final star, then press it in place. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 2. This little witch ghost is absolutely adorable. Now moving on to card number 3. I'm using the Tone on Tone pink spiderweb pattern paper for the background. This piece is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. At the very bottom of the card, I'm adding some of the solid pink cardstock. I believe this is 1 inch tall and 4 inches wide. For a little bit of shine and separation, I put a Love from Lizzie peel off above that pink strip. This is the pink holographic color in the pinstripe style. I'll wrap the ends around the back, layer this piece on some of the pink pearlescent cardstock, put more adhesive on the back, and add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. I've already gone ahead and cut out all of my die cut pieces and stamped out the sentiment. I'll be adding another ghost. This time I cut out the ghost from some white shimmer cardstock. I've already stamped on one of the faces, and this ghost will be wearing a pair of glasses. The glasses die cut image is from Jaded Blossom's Glasses die set. I pulled out the die set to see if it worked with the stamped faces, and some of the sizes do. The ghost will also be wearing a bow. Instead of putting it on the side, I'm putting it directly on the top of her head. This card will also have the new street lamp. I cut it out from 2 different shades of gray cardstock, and I'm using just the light portion at the top instead of the pumpkin with the spider web. For the light piece, I used some yellow glitter paper from my stash. After adhering the main portion of the street lamp, I'll put some double-sided tape on the back side of that opening where the light piece will go. Then I'll inlay the yellow glitter die cut piece. I love this beautiful sparkle for the light. I'm also adding a bat image, and this is from Jaded Blossom's Gnome Dies, the Halloween add-on set. I used the nighttime pattern paper, the black with the pink stars for the bat. And for the bat's eyes, I inlaid them using the pink pearlescent cardstock. And with a white gel pen, I added the tiny little highlights of the eyes. I stamped out the sentiment, "'Tis the season to be spooky," on some light pink cardstock. Using the outline die, I cut out a second piece from some silver holographic paper, and I'll glue the 2 pieces together, creating a drop shadow of the holographic shine underneath the sentiment and on the left side. I'll also be adding a couple of pumpkins, and these are from the Wheelbarrow Fall add-on set. And I've already assembled them since I showed how to assemble them on the first card. I'll add the street lamp on the very left side of the card. The 2 pumpkins will go in the lower right-hand corner. I'll add the sentiment in the upper right-hand corner. Put glue on the back and adhere it in place. The ghost and the bat I will pop up with foam dimension. I have scrapbook.com's 1/4 inch foam in the 1mm thickness. I always have so many foam options sitting next to me while I'm crafting, so it does vary which foam I grab when I'm making cards. I'll remove the release paper from the foam, attach the ghost and the bat. Now I'll glue down the larger pumpkin, and for the smaller pumpkin, I'll put foam dimension just on the left side and add a little bit of glue on the right side since it will sit in front of that larger pumpkin. I'll also cut one of the foam squares in half so I can put a piece behind the small pumpkin stem. Then I'll add glue on the right side of the pumpkin and adhere it in place. For embellishments, I'm using the Embellishment Cluster die set again. This time I pulled out the little twinkles. It's so easy to mass produce a bunch of embellishment pieces since 6 of the images are all welded together on one die. So 1 pass through and you have 6 embellishments. And it's great for using those small scrap pieces of specialty cardstock. Sometimes those pieces aren't quite big enough to use for other items, but it's perfect for embellishments. Using more of the silver holographic, it's one of my favorites. I'll put 3 of them around the bat and 2 in the lower left-hand corner. And I'm using the medium and also the smallest size. Decided not to use the larger size this time. I'll pick up the little twinkles using a pair of reverse tweezers. Add a small drop of Barely Art glue on the back. Adhere the 2 twinkles on the left side of the street lamp. Then I'll add the final 3 twinkles around the bat and on the right side of the little ghost. Then for a final finishing touch, I'll pull out the white gel pen again. Get it flowing, and then I'll add the highlights on the pink bow, the 2 pumpkins, and also the street lamp. Thought about adding some highlights on the bat, but decided not to. I love the look of the little pink stars on the bat's wings. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 3. I love how this turned out. This little ghost is so cute, wearing black glasses and a pink bow. Now moving on to card number 4, and this is my final card. Just to save time on the video, I've already stenciled the background of the image box. I used Distress Oxide Antique Linen ink and the Grunge background stencil set. I cut it out using a stitched rectangle die. For the background of the card, I'm using this lovely pink and dark brown plaid pattern paper. I'll layer it on some dark brown cardstock, put adhesive on the back, and add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. This card will feature the new bear gnome friend, and I couldn't resist making a light pink bear. I cut out the background piece of the bear from the same light pink cardstock, although this will be covered up completely with the other die cut pieces. I'll add the individual legs, then I'll add the belly, then finally the head with the ears. For the little fluff in the center of the belly, I use some white shimmer cardstock. Now the die set has lots of individual pieces, so if you want more distinction between some of those pieces, you could always add those on. When I was first showing the bear set with the bear face stamp set, I showed just the face portion without the stitched muzzle. And if you use that, you'll have more separation for the ears. I'll be covering up several areas of the bear's head, so I'm really not worried about it. For the bear's muzzle and inside of the ears, I use some light tan cardstock. And for the bear's nose, I used some dark brown cardstock. I did cut out some eyes for the bear, but I end up not using them. Since this will be a Halloween card, the bear needs to be dressed up for trick-or-treating, and this bear is going as a scarecrow. I used Jaded Blossom's Girl Scarecrow die set. It has the hat and the fun straw hair. I used the non-pearlescent pink cardstock for the hat, the pearlescent pink cardstock for the band of the hat, light yellow cardstock for the straw. So first I'll adhere the hat, then I'll add the hair straw pieces on the right and left side of the hat. And when I hold the hat onto the bear, it'll completely cover up the bear's eyes. And it reminds me of the gnomes, since you rarely ever see their eyes. So I thought that was super cute. Plus, I really wanted the ears to be poking out from the top of the hat. I'll add glue on the back of the hair and the hat and attach it on the bear. Flip over the bear and secure it in place with a piece of double-sided adhesive tape. Since the bear will be trick-or-treating, needs a candy bucket. I use orange cardstock for the background piece of the bucket and also the front piece. The background piece of the bucket had the little hand hold areas, but I want the bear to be holding the handle of the bucket, so I simply trim those areas off. I'll also decorate the front of the bucket to make it look like a jack-o'-lantern. And the dies for the candy bucket and the jack-o'-lantern face are from the Gnome Halloween add-on set. I'll place the candy bucket in front of the bear. Now I can figure out the placement for the paws. Put a little bit of glue on just that front area of the paws. Adhere them on the handle. Then I'll flip over the candy bucket, put foam dimension on the back. And I like to add a piece of foam to connect the paw with the handle. Now I'll remove the release paper and attach the candy bucket in front of the bear. This little scarecrow bear is absolutely adorable. To add a little more detail to the bear's scarecrow costume, I'm attaching a couple of patches. And the patches are from Jaded Blossom's Gnome Dies, the fall add-on set. I cut them out from the plaid pattern paper, There are 3 different patches. I'm trying to decide which 2 will fit the best. Went with the smallest on the left side and the largest on the right side of the hat. I've already stamped and cut out the sentiment, wishing you a very scary Halloween. Although there's nothing scary about this cute scarecrow bear. I'll attach the sentiment at the bottom of the stenciled panel, and the bottom half of the sentiment die cut will go off of that stenciled piece. I will add a scrap piece of cardstock. Then I'll put glue on the back and adhere it in place, making sure to leave enough space for the bear to be right above the sentiment. And I will pop up the bear using some foam dimension. I'll make sure to get good coverage, remove the release paper, then attach my bear right above the sentiment. To finish off the card, I'll add more embellishments using the Embellishment Cluster die set. Thought about using the sequin design in the silver holographic, but decided to cut out some more using the pink pearlescent cardstock. And I'm going with the twinkle design again. When I have a few spare moments, I like to cut out some extra embellishment die cuts, or sometimes I can convince my daughter to cut out a few for me. I cut out all 3 sizes of the twinkle embellishments. I'll put 3 in the upper left-hand corner and 2 in the lower right-hand corner. Since I used all 3 of the different sizes, I ended up with 18 embellishments. And on this card, I'm only adding 5. So I'll still keep those extras and just pop them into my embellishment box. To finish off the card, I'll use a white gel pen and add a few highlights on the bear's hat and also the candy bucket. So there is my finished card, and I love how this one turned out. It might be my favorite from the entire set, but I think the ghosts are really cute as well. Now here's another look at the 4 cards I made using Jaded Blossom's brand new September 2024 release. There are lots of new stamp, dies, and the stencil set. Jaded Blossom never disappoints. They always have fun and unique products, and I love that they make their stamps, dies, and stencils here in the US. If you're interested in any of the products I used in this video, I do have links in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.